Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Random Redshirt podcast. As always, I'm one of the hosts, Zach, and the other host is Chris. What's up, bro?
Hello, my dear friend Zach. Excellent to see you as always. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching around the worlds and Antarctica and the interwebs and the solar system. Yeah, thank you. Awesome to be here with you.
Don't forget about Atlas 3I, Chris, even though that's
Atlas
gone. Like
3i,
you were all
yeah.
about that. Now it's been forgotten.
We cannot forget Atlas
That's right.
3i.
That's right.
Yeah,
We can't forget our friends on Atlas 3I, right?
yeah, was with us for a while. Yeah,
Was. That
yeah.
is true. That is true. Yes. Well, welcome, everybody, to the Random Redshirt podcast. This is your first time watching or listening. Thank you for checking us out. Be sure to go on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, your favorite podcast platform, YouTube. Check us out on all the socials there. Follow, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We're a couple of nerdy guys who like to talk about the things we enjoy the most. And we are making our way, Chris, now into episode 4 of season 4 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And the name of the episode, A Case of Cure. See, I'm gonna
You can
mess
do
it
it.
up.
You can do it.
Chiaroscuro.
Yeah.
Chiaroscuro.
Chiaroscuro. That was pretty
Case of
good.
Chiaroscuro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was good.
And you were just kind of giving me a nice little crash course on what particularly that meant from our
Yeah.
lovely friends in the art department.
I It is indeed. It is indeed a technique of it is an art technique in painting using the contrast of light and dark that was brought forth in the Renaissance by Italian painters and is highlighted in most college art textbooks.
Like the one you're holding,
Like the
Gateway to
one I am
Art.
holding, Gateway to Art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it does bring it brings it brings a very dramatic feeling, and it helps make two-dimensional objects
Hmm.
appear three-dimensional. So a two-dimensional painting appear three-dimensional. Yeah.
Yep, that's true. Well, that makes sense for this episode, given that it's black and white. And here in episode 4 of Strange New World, season 4, we have gotten time travel. We have gotten Event Horizon, Star Trek Edition. We have gotten The Hangover meets Dude, Where's My Car, Star Trek Edition. And now we are getting Casablanca, Star Trek Edition, or at least some version of a noir.
Noir, Casablanca, Star Trek version.
Yeah,
Fun, interesting fact about the movie Casablanca is that it was not actually filmed in Morocco. It was filmed on stage,
true.
right? So, but
Yeah.
yeah, you saying Casablanca made me think about that.
Yeah, well, Casablanca is one of the great movies of all time. I've seen it
Yeah.
a few times myself, and it's a fantastic movie with some iconic quotes from
Hmm.
Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. So great movie. But this episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, A Case of Chiaroscuro.
Nice. Well
Did I get
done.
it? Yes. All right, cool. I was kind of working on it this week, attempting to figure out, and this weekend to say, okay, how do I say this? Let me practice a little bit. It was written by Skylar Ojeda and Dana Horgan, directed by Mira Menon. I don't have you say her
Mm,
last name or his last name.
yeah.
So I apologize there. And yeah, we get a black and white noir style Star Trek episode, which does happen to remind you a little bit of the Captain Proton holodeck series and Star Trek
Oh,
Voyager. I
yes,
think a little
yes.
bit, right? Because there's
Hmm.
not a lot of black and white, obviously, in Star Trek episodes as far as how it's filmed. But the holodeck series with Bride of Chaotica and Captain Proton and all this stuff going on with Tom Paris and his adventures in the holodeck, that black and white does lend itself to remind you a little bit here in this Strange New Worlds episode, beginning with Una, Uhura, and Dr. Mbenga on a shuttle sneaking into Klingon territory to go after a probe that has kind of gone off track a little bit.
Yeah, it has gone off track a little bit. I did really like and admire the opening of this episode. So a, a probe ran out of battery, as I believe. It was something like that, ran out of battery or 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 discharged or drifted
It's not
into Klingon
functioning.
space.
Yeah.
Not function, but the
Yeah.
Federation probe drifted into Klingon space. And so Una's mission now, and her first mission as a commander, right? As a
Hmm.
commander, yep,
Yeah. She
is
even mentions
to,
that in
yeah,
her own personal log, I believe.
yeah, she does. And her first mission is to go retrieve that probe. Um, and she's excited about it. And, she's, I think, a little bit nervous about it. But we learn that everything is visually black and white because of some radiation from a certain type of star that's nearby. So it puts the entire system into black and white. And I did really enjoy the shots, seeing the shuttle kind of drift, go away from the Enterprise, go towards the probe, and the shots of the Enterprise in black and white. Just really beautiful, beautiful use of color, not color, of shades. Beautiful
Yeah.
use of shades in this episode.
Agreed. This shuttle didn't seem like the one they took to the drug episode, the
Yeah,
psychedelic episode. That one seemed like it was wider and had more seats. At least the way it
yeah,
appeared on screen, it didn't seem like it was
seemed like it
as
was.
large. I don't know if it's just a different shuttle or it's an inconsistency in continuity, but I don't know if you noticed that. I didn't notice the multiple rows of first class seating or anything like that in the back.
I did think about that too, that the shuttle didn't look as big. And so makes sense that they've got a few different classes or categories of shuttles, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Voyager did, right? Once they built the Delta Flyer was that tactical
Mhm.
kind of shuttle that can get in and out of places, and the other ones were just kind of transporting. And the
Yeah.
Enterprise did too, right? In TNG, they had the much smaller size shuttle with the really, really small one, and they had the
Yeah.
kind of more standard size, like was it Type 7 shuttle or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the opening of this episode, we see a little backstories of each of them, like a little bit of backstory of Una, also of Dr. Mbenga, and then Leon, right? Because a little bit of her backstory,
Yeah, they
which was
reached
cool.
back into some previous Star Trek episodes of Strange New Worlds to kind of refresh us on things that had happened, to include when La'an turned, they had her turn into a Vulcan. I believe that was the episode 4.5 Vulcans from last
Hmm.
season,
Yeah.
and about how she's trying to work through the after effects of being turned into Vulcan, which
Yeah.
I thought in that episode they were just appearing as Vulcan. I didn't think that they did redid their whole genetics, but then when I went back and looked again, I was like, oh, they did something where it actually completely
Yeah.
changed their genetics. So now Una, or not Una, but La'an is working through some of the side effects of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't remember exactly if she changed to Vulcan or if she changed to Romulan. Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
I think it was Vulcan.
Vulcan.
I thought,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We'd have to go back and watch.
yeah,
We'd have to go back and watch that.
that was an interesting episode.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Do you remember in that episode when Pike's hair went really high up too? It's like this. I remember that joke we talked about how it's like he turned Vulcan and his hair was like 3 feet higher. It was crazy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Anytime you can, yeah, modify his hair, it's good.
Yeah.
He goes through a lot of hair products, which is good. Captain.
The- well, yeah. Remember when Captain Battelle even mentions about his hair products, like kind of
Yeah.
poking at it. I just think it's funny that they're able to do a little self-deprecating humor there, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like that. I like that.
Yeah.
There's a particular like scene back and forth between Una and Captain Pike that I like. It's kind of a cold and sterile feeling scene, but she's about to go into Klingon space to retrieve the probe. Um, and I think maybe she's got to go to the planet, but it's back and forth between her and you see Captain Pike in the chair and it's just he's kind of expressionless and he's
Mm.
saying, you know your orders and no one can know we're here, and we'll wait for you and go down the planet. Go down the planet, make sure no one sees you, no one can know we're here. So I did like that scene because it was just that feeling of kind of coldness right there. It was good.
Yeah, and it was very poignant when Pike said, "We cannot be found out here," or something along those lines, right? Starfleet cannot be here. He was making it very well known that by doing that, there obviously would be severe, severe fallout, right? I mean, they could In fact, I think even Una in her personal log says something to the effect of not wanting to restart an old war, right? Or restart
Yeah.
the Klingon Cold War. So
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But there is a apparently a D7 cruiser that's there blocking their way to return once they've retrieved the probe.
when they first showed that, I thought to myself, at least the angle of the camera, I'm like, well, the D7 would have noticed them.
Yeah, I
Now they
was wondering
explain it
why
later,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Scotty explains it later.
Yeah.
When him and Ortegas, I believe, are talking to the captain about what they did with the chip or whatever inside the probe and how I don't know, some scientific reason why. But at the beginning, you're like, well, how did this D7 not see the shuttle flying around near it?
You just look out the window and you'll see the shuttle.
Right? Yeah, look out
Yeah.
the window. Hey, Captain, what is that? That doesn't look Klingon, does it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so they have to land on the planet. And as they go down the planet, they go through this like magnetic or some sort of detection field. And
Yeah, it's
so
like some kind of
yeah.
warning barrier or something
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they land and um then they realize, oh, well, we can't stay here. We'll have to get off. We'll have to like replicate some clothes and kind of blend in, which they do.
I don't remember the Starfleet shuttles back then during the TOS
Yeah.
era having like synthesizing abilities to
Oh,
make clothes on board the
yeah.
shuttle. So not sure how they got that on there, but okay, I'll push the I believe button for this.
Oh, that's a really good point because I think until now on Matar, they didn't even know what the Matar species like looked like.
They didn't
They,
know much about them, right?
yeah. So they had no idea. Yeah.
So how did they? I don't know. Again, we got to push the I believe button for a television show. That's fine,
Mhm.
but they do. They get their clothes, and of course, it's very sort of 1930s, 1940s. You know, noir, Chicago, New York kind of uh, dress fancy clothes that they're
Very
in while they're down on the
stylish.
planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very stylish.
And of course, Dr. Mbenga has the fedora. Very slick looking. Very, very slick looking.
Yeah, he looks excellent in
Yes,
this
I agree.
episode. Yeah. Uh,
Well, I think they all do, right? I mean, even Uhura has this wonderful looking dress on.
mhm.
No idea what color it is other than it's dark because it's black and white, right? But very, very nice looking clothes, you said for sure.
Yeah. And as they're walking down on the planet, um, you can see signs that there is some sort of Klingon occupation. You see this giant hologram of one of the Klingon occupiers, like saying something. So that was a neat transition down there. And like as like shortly after they're on the planet, someone approaches the three of them and goes to Una and says, like, Navette, there you are. We've been like looking for you.
Yeah,
And
Roman, I think was his name, right?
Roman, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of you're sitting there watching, and all of a sudden Una's getting called out as somebody else. You're like, well, wait a second. Why would they be calling her Navette? There's
Hmm.
got to be maybe she looks like somebody named Navette, and that's why. And so you kind of, as an audience, you're kind of going, okay, this doesn't really make any sense, but let's see it play out.
Yeah, let's see it play out. And so she's got to pretend to be Navette. Suna's kind of confused and she's like, oh, well, okay. She's got to pretend to be Navette, which she does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. And immediately they're taken into the club, this bar, this area that we see multiple times through the episode, and right away. Is put up to a significant challenge because now she has to basically talk to this woman who's been taken captive by Roman and his thugs or whoever these guys are, right? Guys and gals. And she's got to now talk to her and see what's up and who she is and everything while also playing a character she has no clue who she is.
Yeah. And this was a good scene between them because I've watched this particular scene like twice. Because
Mm.
what I realized the second time as I watched is that the girl, the woman that is caught, that is the not the host, but is the detainee. You know, she's been beat up by people, and she's kind of there. She's you can see that kind of confusion between her because what we realize is that Navette is yes, she's Core's number one kind of Mataran like person,
Yeah.
but she's also leader of the resistance clandestinely. And and then when you see this scene like again with the woman that's a captive, you can see that not only is Una being Navette confused, but the woman's confused too.
Hmm.
Because, you know, the woman's like, she knows Navette and she knows Navette is the leader of the resistance. So there's some confusion going on between them, which I enjoyed that as a scene because you have Una trying to play Navette, someone else, but not knowing anything about the circumstance and what's going on. And the woman believing she's talking to Navette, and Navette is like a double agent. So it's a very, very layered scene and dialogue between them both.
Agreed. And think about this, right, Chris? Because Una's playing three people. She's playing Una,
Hmm.
she's playing Navette, and she's playing the sellout Navette, right? The Klingon sympathizer Navette,
Yeah,
its leader, and she's playing Resistance Navette. So she's wearing three hats. I mean, if you think about it, the first away mission that Una's leading as a commander is a really, really tough, sticky situation to be in. I mean, you talk about walking into a hornet's nest. Oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And unfortunately, the woman at the table does the old Bond movie trick and bites down into some like almost like a cyanide capsule in her
Yeah,
teeth, and then that takes her out.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
takes her out. And there was some what I liked was, you know, the woman saying like she gives Navette like the frequency. And she said something like 35.4 megahertz.
yeah,
Or yeah.
34.6 or something like that. Yeah, but
Hmm.
she does. She gives him a free, which I mean, as an audience and as to Una, that doesn't mean anything,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yeah.
just okay.
We
It's
have no idea.
some number, some frequency, but what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And we learn that later. But yeah, but she does that before she passes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say we also meet the club bartender Jalem, who's also another
Hmm.
very important character in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Who also says to Navette essentially like, oh, we didn't know what happened to you. We're glad you're back.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, exactly. Um,
What would you do, Chris, if now obviously not another planet in our case, right? I mean, you're not gonna go 8 months to Mars and show up and go, hey, there's another guy who looks just like me here. But if you were in another city and all of a sudden you're like, hang on a second, that guy looks eerily like me. What would you do if you met your doppelganger?
I guess we wouldn't know, yeah?
I don't, I, that's true. What would we do? I don't know. Be like they're like a long lost sibling or long lost
Hmm.
cousin or something. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe we're family and we just don't know it.
Right. But imagine, I mean, we'll get in this later, right? But imagine being in Una's shoes when she sees the real Navette. That would have been wild.
Yeah, and she was shocked. Like when she goes into the hidden chamber that is
Yeah.
in Nivette's quarters and kind of opens and that chamber opens and you see the Nivette there, the actual Nivette who is dead.
Yeah.
Like that definitely gives Uno a start.
It would you too, right? It would me for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, wait,
absolutely.
what? What's going on here? Yeah. Unfortunately, though, the things that they're doing and information they're trying to gather is kind of messed up because then Uhura gets interrogated at the checkpoint and now she's taken into custody, which kind of derails a lot of
It,
things.
it does. I mean, Una has a good idea. She's because it's a good idea at first. She says, "Hey, we got to get out of here." She
Right?
situations changed. Let's go back to the
Yeah.
shuttle and wait. We're not
Yeah.
gonna. So that's actually a good idea. She doesn't want to mess around, interfere. She's like, let's go wait.
Yeah. And
And
she tries to intervene with when Uhura's getting taken not hostage, but taken under arrest by the Klingons. And Dr. Benga's like, hey, we can't help her if we also get arrested.
yeah,
So I like that Dr. Benga kind of pulls Una back in before she does something that might really, really be bad for all three of them.
yeah. And Benga's good at that. Yeah.
Very.
And Benga's who you want in these situations, you know?
Well, he is the what was that phrase from Under the Cloak of War? He ended up being the butcher of Jagal,
Yeah.
right? It ends up being him and not the Klingon, right? So he's had a lot of experience in war, obviously. And there's an amazing thing he's going to mention about himself at the end of the episode that we'll get to that I thought was really that whole end scene on the shuttle was incredible.
Yeah.
But he also has significant experience with Klingons, and that is a huge importance on this away mission.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's probably why he was on the mission because they have to go into Klingon space. So let's select someone that's got a tremendous amount of experience for it.
Yes. Also, Chris, we do get the one, the only Dahar Master, Core, a young version of Core in this episode. And it's not the Core we meet on Space Station K7 and Trouble with Tribbles, who is just a man painted brown. He actually has forehead ridges in
Ah,
this.
yes.
So I was joking with a friend of mine earlier. I was talking to him and I said it's kind of hilarious because I feel like Core is like the most recycled Klingon in Star Trek outside of like Worf and Gowron.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep seeing Core pop up all over the timeline, right? He's in now in Star and Strange New World, a young version, obviously, not same actor. We had him in TOS. We get him. I don't think we had him in TNG, but we get him in DS9 with that whole episode with Jedzia and Worf and him going off to find the real sword of Kahless and the Dahar Master himself. So we've seen Core a lot. And
Yeah.
it was interesting to see that they bring Core back, albeit a younger version, and somehow he has forehead ridges again. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. And uh, one of Core's like outfits was very, very shiny. This, if I noticed that. You've got thoughts about that. You've got,
So, yeah, I was thinking about this, Chris.
yeah.
It wasn't obviously it wasn't just like, but did it not feel like and have hints of the Star Trek Discovery Klingon outfits a little bit? Again, it didn't look exactly like them,
Oh,
but it certainly felt inspired by the Discovery Klingon outfits, which of course are heinous at best.
oh,
But
I gotta go
I,
look. Yeah, I blocked it from my mind.
as well, you should have.
Yeah.
As well, you should have. Yeah, if you get a chance, take a look at that again and shoot me a text. Let me know what you think because like I said, it doesn't look exactly like the ones you see in Discovery, but I certainly saw inspiration from that in some way in the way in which this was designed. I don't mind Kor's outfit. I didn't mind the Klingons' outfits in this episode,
Yeah.
but I could tell there must have been some kind of link or connection to the Discovery ones.
Yeah, yeah. We get some like insights into Core's personality on this, which I enjoyed. He
Hmm.
is, I mean, he does like hold the Klingon Empire in high honor. He loves the Klingon Emperor, but he's got a little bit of a sadistic side to him. Maybe it's not little. Maybe he has a sadistic side to him,
Yeah.
right? He does have like he holds honor in high regard, but um he enjoyed using the mind scanner on Uhura. Right?
Hats off to Uhura, Chris. I mean, she took it like a champ. She was so good
Mhm.
at protecting Una, protecting Mbanga, and protecting Starfleet when she had that mind scanner going. And she took the torture and the punishment and still was able to keep herself together and protect the Federation and protect her friends, crewmate and crewmates on the ship for the away mission. So mad props to Una or Uhura. I thought she was absolutely brilliant during that interrogation.
Yeah, she was. And the way that interrogation was filmed and shot and sequenced together. I did enjoy it. It was kind of, it was, I almost want to use the word like unusual.
Mm.
Um, it, it was very methodically paced. Not a lot of screaming like during the mind scanning or torture, um, but I liked it. It was quite an uncomfortable kind of juxtaposition of scenes that was put there.
Yeah. Uhura did a really great job of fighting back against the interrogation and the mind scanner. And like you said, she wasn't screaming and hollering. She just was like, doing her best to endure it,
Hmm.
right? And I thought that what Uhura did there was, in my opinion, a very pivotal moment in the episode. I mean, if she doesn't and she ends up cracking and revealing any information, it could have been the lives of her and Una and Dr. Mbanga and potentially even a potential start to a new war. So that interrogation of Uhura was really significant in this episode. I think looking back, I didn't think as much of it at first, and then when the episode was over, I was kind of thinking back on it. I'm like, it's kind of a pivotal scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point on that. It really was. And meanwhile, back on the Enterprise, when they're analyzing and kind of investigating the probe, we get to see this side of Leon where she's very paranoid and maybe paranoid about everything. Like they open up the probe. Spock is there, and very quickly after that, Leon's like, "Oh, it looks like one of these memory chips has been like dislodged," and that sends her into this complete side quest and investigative journey because she is paranoid um, into figuring that out.
Agreed. That another scene with Lon that worries me. Like that
Yeah,
this is all building to something.
yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it's building to something good as a fan of her as my favorite character in the show. It really concerns me, and I know I've said that I think almost every episode of season
Hmm.
4, but it's continuing to build, and now even with the way the episode ends, that scene between Pike and Lon, it worries me that we're building towards either her death or something happening that is so severe that it pushes her out of the show, which at some point her and Ortegas and some of these other non-TOS characters are eventually going to have to leave or unless they're going to completely break the timeline and canon and it's going to be something different. But I know we're headed that way. It's just I'm really worried about the fate of Law, and I'm just hoping that it's not the fate is not death.
Well, you are definitely right that in season 4, Leon is having a lot of attention and a lot of specific attention on each episode, right? So, see, episode 1 was her punching the Velociraptor like right in the face, you
On the
know,
away mission, yeah.
on the away mission. So that was a big deal. I mean, these are kind of significant things. Episode 2, was that the horror one?
That was, and
Yeah.
she was
Ah,
the focal point of that episode.
yeah.
She was becoming the next Lieutenant Harper
Yeah.
on that ship.
She stabbed Captain Kirk.
She was
Remember?
Sam Neill's character.
Yeah.
She was Sam Neill's character, and Lieutenant Harper was Sam Neill's wife he kept seeing on the event horizon.
Hmm.
Not to drudge up old memories of the movie, Chris, but I mean that's the parallel I got
Yeah.
for those two.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Very good point. In episode 3, the comedy one, she was, I mean, she was featured as like having high aggression and want to do the Ambo Jitsu tournament to the death with all
Yeah.
of the poor yoga participants. Felt bad for them. So so
Yeah.
and then this one specifically focusing on her paranoia. So um, you're exactly right. More so than any other character, they're focusing on Leon on this way.
Yeah. I just hope that if something's going to happen to her life and she is going to die, that she gets a good death, right? Something where she's sacrificing herself for the crew or friends or something like that. I don't want her to get a Tasha Yar death where she dies by the oil monster on some rando planet that looks like a senseless death. I don't want her to have Jadzia's death where she dies by a possessed gold ducat just because she's in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't want those kinds of things. I want her to have something admirable if that's indeed going to happen, which I hope it doesn't. I hope she doesn't die at all. But I digress. But you are right, Chris. That scene, you start to see the paranoia build, and of course, Spock and his infinite logic doesn't help the cause. He's just making it worse.
Yeah. I mean, she asks him like his opinion if he thinks that the probe could have been tampered with, and he's like, I don't think so. Highlight. But she does seek out the help of another Vulcan on the ship.
Okay. D d Does this cadet Vulcan not drive you nuts a little bit? I know she's full Vulcan, right? Like she's not like Spock and half and everything, but she's a cadet and she has a lieutenant, in this case, Lon, saying, "Hey, I need you to do this," and she's like ignoring her, like, dude, she's a commissioned officer. You're a cadet. She's asking you to do something. You stop what you're doing and you do it.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. How disrespectful as a cadet that this character comes across to these officers. I know she's Vulcan, but even still, logically, the Vulcan guy has to know that these are superior officers. I have to be respectful. I'm just a cadet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really bothers me, Chris. Really bothers me.
That I also thought very unusual, right? Because she just has these, you're right. She's very, very disrespectful, like very, very rude. And I don't actually think that would, and I don't think any of them would have taken it. They would said, well, you're a cadet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I was waiting for Lon when the cadet kind of, I say she snapped at her, but was kind of snippy, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm working on something, blah blah blah." And then I was waiting for Lon to go, "Excuse me, cadet, I need you to run this. I need you to listen to this, whatever it was specifically she was asking her to do. I don't remember exactly." And then the cadet would have been, "Oh, I mean, Lon's tough. She doesn't take garbage from anybody." So that really bothered me that Lon just looked like, huh, okay, I guess I'll just have somebody else do it. Like, no, Lon would be like, knife hand, you do it now, kind of thing. But
Yeah. I mean, Leon was, she was manipulating the cadet, like, um, kind of using different ways of persuasion and manipulation. But, who wouldn't take that? Riker would not take that from.
no, you're right, Chris.
Yeah. Riker would be like, no way.
He doesn't take that from other junior commissioned officers.
Yeah.
Why take that from a cadet?
Yeah. He'd be like, why don't you leave? Why don't you leave right
Yeah,
now?
get
Yeah.
off the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or could you imagine if Worf asked the cadet to do something and she didn't? He'd be like, oh, he would flip a lid.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you right? Worf would
Yeah.
also go like, yep, goodbye. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why that bothers me so much, but again, I know she's a Vulcan, but I really feel like she should have been more respectful, and she could have done it in a Vulcan way still, but just this complete neglect and absence of care when you have in this case, Lon's a senior officer. She's a senior officer on board the Enterprise, telling you that she needs you to do something, and you just, basically give her the Vulcan finger. I mean,
It,
really bug
it's
me, man.
Yeah, it's out of place. Actually, it does feel out of place because no one else like acts like that. So, um, and Spock as a half Vulcan certainly doesn't act like that. Like, and it does. You're right. It does feel quite out of place.
Yeah. But going back to Uhura's interrogation,
Yeah.
there was something very important that came out of that interrogation that honestly kind of made it worth it a little bit.
What was that?
That
What was
was
the
when
part?
that's when she finds out that the Klingons are
Oh,
planning
yeah.
on taking that planetary, you know, it's not a shield, right? But that planetary system, alarm system kind of thing, and making it to where nothing can get through. And if something does come in, it's just going to vaporize the whole ship or blow the
Hmm.
ship up. And that also means nothing can get out either. So it traps the Matarans on the planet and it keeps them from being able to escape. So that was really, really big. And that's then what helps set Una as Navette on her quest to find that EMP device.
It does. Hey, as I think about like, what is the Klingons' desire to occupy this planet in the first place? Was it because of its proximity to Federation space? They
I,
thought, hey, we want, this is important to us.
I believe it was it Una? Somebody said, maybe it was Dr. Mbengo says about the strategic importance of it
Hmm.
and where it was located, how close it was to the demarcation line. I think it was something along those lines. So probably from a Klingon's perspective, it was probably, well, we're this close. We could use this planet to launch uh soldiers, do things. We could also use this as like a listening outpost to try to
Yeah.
spy on the Federation. So some type of significant importance. And it wouldn't be the first time that the Klingons have had listening posts in other places near the Federation border to try to spy on the Federation.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah.
So that, this idea that okay, now Navette has to pretty much sit down with Core and sort of prove her loyalty to him. They have the blood wine, and she's able to fool him, we think,
Hmm.
into believing that she is loyal and she's going to continue to carry out the will of the Klingon Empire and the will of Core's desires until a certain someone we see catches up with her and acts like he's going to shoot her after
Yeah.
she's gotten the EMP device out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's Roman, right? And she
Yeah,
spares,
that's
she
yeah,
spares him. Yeah.
she does. There's a little twist there, right? That I think one of the twists is that Roman is actually now kind of the right hand guy of well, not right hand guy of Core, but he's kind of now selling out Navette
Yeah.
or wants
Because,
to at least.
yeah. Because we learned that I think Roman is the one that actually poisons Navette. I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yep.
this is interesting when I thought about it too. So Roman's attempt at poisoning Navette, he must never have seen the outcome. He would not have known that like she she died, that she
Mm.
actually died, right? And so he must have like um secretly kind of poisoned her where she wouldn't have known like who the source of the poison was from. Yeah. And Navette ends up planting the transmitter device on Roman. Right?
Yeah.
So, and I like what Una does. She says, "I'm going to spare your life," um, and like he runs away. And
Yeah, Una beat the tar out of him a little bit, right? I mean, she
yeah,
really took him to the woodshed.
yeah,
He had that gun, and she grabbed it, spun him around, pushed him up against the wall, flipped him over on his back. I mean, we know that as an Illyrian, she does have increased strength, so she's good at hand-to-hand combat. And Roman didn't stand a chance.
no,
Didn't stand a chance in that fight with Una, not one.
no, he doesn't. And she does. I mean, that's a very clever act that she does, planting the transmitter on him, and he runs to the Klingons to essentially rat her out, to expose her, and and they find the transmitter on him, and he's like, "Oh, he got set up." And
And as soon as
I,
he walks through the checkpoint, it sets off the EMP, which just wipes all the power out on the planet, or at least in that major city, and that brings down the barrier,
yep,
which
and
allows
then
people to escape. Right,
the Mataran's able to escape. Yep,
right.
yep.
Now we must not forget going back to the investigation that Pike asks Lon to launch on the probe, right? Because during that time, Scotty reveals that he modified the probe to track the D7. So we're learning a little bit more here as to why they were able to fly around the D7 at the beginning, because they kind of are able to track it at and know where it's at and everything. But we also learn that there is some sort of hidden signal in this probe that they have discovered.
Yeah.
And that hidden signal, we find out, is actually, was it the USS York was the one that was trying to send the information?
Yep. Yep.
That's the one that, again, a very small scene with Chapel reveals to La'an, and why it was so important that the USS York not be basically ratted out on the whole thing,
Yeah.
and the significance of the information. And so
I,
Lon has to then basically keep this secret for Nurse Chapel, to keep Nurse Chapel's career and the careers on of the people on the York from being destroyed.
yeah. And I think that was because, I mean, Chapel said the people on the York, I believe, went into Klingon space
Yeah,
to,
to help out they were responding to a distress signal, I believe.
yeah, yeah, to render assistance.
Hmm.
I got a couple I'm confused. I'm going to talk through my confusion. See, you can help me out here too. We'll first start with the York kind of one. So it's fine. Like Leon and Chapel, like they're talking, and Leon's saying, "Yeah, I can't find like any." Um, maybe Leon's thinking maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe there isn't like any tampering with the probe. And this in this scene, Chapel kind of confesses. She goes, "Well, did you check the transporter buffer?" Right? And that's always the key, isn't it? The transporter
Always the
buffer.
transporter
That's always the
buffer.
transporter buffer.
The writers like the transporter buffers, Chris. They do.
Yeah.
They love those transporter buffers.
Yeah. And then yeah, Chapel essentially confesses like, yeah, I modified the chip in the memory of the probe
Yeah, she erased
and
the
she
information, I
erased
think,
it.
right? Yeah,
Right.
because they didn't
Yeah.
want them to find out.
Yeah. But then the York, that particular ship, eh, Chapel erased the stuff from the probe's memory, but the York as a ship is going to have its own logs
Well, they
as
would have
a,
erased those logs, though, wouldn't they?
I, I guess maybe they
I
would have.
mean,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
if they erase the logs, wouldn't there be missing dates in there that would stand out? Like, well, where did the logs for these
Yeah.
dates go? You guys just didn't do anything. You just parked in one spot and like watch Netflix and chill. I mean, like, what did you
Yeah.
do, guys?
You would have thought there was like any number of records on the York, right? Either
Right.
the ship's logs or the officer's logs or all of this stuff like happening.
Something.
Something.
I mean, is this another case, not the same situation, but is this another USS Pegasus situation? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's just
Yeah.
bury everything and forget about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. And so I got confused on that part. And then I was honestly confused of the whole thing between Scotty doing his signal. Like Scotty's got a signal that helps detect where the D7 is. And I was confused about why that was a secret and why Leon had to trace that back to Scotty and Ortega, and Pike had ordered it. And so I was that scene amongst Leon and Ortega and Scotty, it felt like that signal that Scotty put on was supposed to be a secret and no one was supposed to know about it, but Pike had ordered it. And why was Leon finding out about it in this way? I got
Yeah.
super confused on that. And I don't know if I was missing something and maybe someone can help me through that. But
No, I think you're right. I think your
uh,
confusion's valid.
mm,
I think there's some, not loophole. There are some plot points that are a bit sketchy. You're like,
mm.
well, that doesn't make sense. Why would this happen this way and do that? So I think maybe it's the way they wrote it to keep the audience confused. Which, if you're confused, then it worked, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't exactly think to myself, "Oh, that made sense." I guess
Hmm.
maybe I just wasn't really thinking
Okay.
about that, but no, you make a good point there, Chris.
Yeah.
It's definitely a particular moment in the episode where you're like, "Okay, this doesn't really make sense. I don't understand this. Why would they keep that from Lon,
Yeah.
unless they thought something of her like, oh, she's doing some weird things." But what's funny though is that Spock was the one who's like, "Oh yeah, there's nothing here, Lon." But there was. She was right.
Yeah. That's true.
So once again, Spock is not helping her out. Not helping her out, man. He's just not. You got to get your BFF there together, man. He's 0 for 2 the last couple times, but no, it's that was a very interesting scene. Definitely confusing for sure. But the moment that so the EMP hits, all the power goes out in this big city, and then I think we go back to the Enterprise, and they are able to detect that loss of power. Lon gives the briefing to Pike, and we know because they show shots of it that there are ships that are getting off the planet quickly because there was that scene I believe with what I say his name was Jalem on the bartender where they have a scene with him I think right before they go and do the EMP.
Hmm.
And so obviously what that conversation allowed him, Jalem, to get people off the Matar as quickly as possible once that barrier went down. So that was good.
Yeah, and he is set up to be the next leader of the resistance, right? He doesn't want Navette to go. He's like, "Oh, you're going? Like, we need a leader." And she says, "Well, you're their leader now. They do have a leader." So that was
Yeah.
a nice handoff
Yeah.
for him. Hmm.
Did this episode, so the shots, you see the shots of the city, right? And you see these almost like blimp looking things flying
Yeah.
around. Did that not remind you of like some of those older movies in the 1940s that were about World War II and like German occupation and everything? That kind of had that feel to it. Like the Klingons were representing the German Reich and the
Yeah.
German occupation, and the Matar was a country underneath the Nazi occupation. That's kind of some of the parallels that you draw there. And of course, with Casablanca, the Nazis and stuff are in Casablanca as well. So that also kind of makes sense to draw that comparison.
For sure, it was just like that. I Some of the shots I felt looked reminded me of artwork from an older movie like Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. It was like
Hmm.
in the 2000s, so I like
Oh
that
yeah,
movie. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah, very stylistic episode that this was.
yeah. But we must, Chris, talk about that last moment in the shuttle as they're flying back to Enterprise because I thought the writing in that scene was really, really good. It was really, really good. And I
Hmm.
loved when Dr. Mbenga mentions, I think it was in the shuttle, right? Where he mentions that, you can't save them all. And something along the lines of it's not the ones that you save that you remember, it's the ones you don't, or something like that. That's not the line, but it's that kind of idea, right? I
Yeah.
really, I really like that scene. I like the discussion that Dr. Mbenga has about his time with Klingons and his experience with them. And you see Una wrestling with whether or not she did the right thing. And I believe Dr. Mbenga says something to the effect of that, they got off the planet, but she's still wrestling with her choices to kind of throw out the rules. Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what they did, I mean, in not in theory, in reality, what they did probably violated the Prime Directive, or does it? Because the Klingons are occupying the planet. So are you really changing the evolution of that, the course of evolution of that planet, or are you really saving that planet? And I think there's a lot of back and forth that Una is trying to do about, well, did I really do the right thing?
Well, it certainly potentially violated a treaty that the Federation would have had with the Klingons, right? So you have
Yeah, but they don't
because
need to know that one,
they
Chris.
don't need to know that one, right? Um, but this is I was thinking about this scene with Una as well because Una's struggling with her choice. She, like you said, she's wondering if she did the right thing, where all these people were able to get away. But as I thought through it, I was like, well, what other choice did she have? Because they weren't able to get to their shuttle. That was her original idea was to wait it out, right? That was her
Yeah.
original idea. Let's wait it out. Everything's too risky. Okay, we're not gonna interfere. But that went sideways, and it wasn't necessarily like her fault that it went sideways, right? Uh, Uhura got captured. They had to get Uhura back, and then they had to get out. But I'm like wondering how else would they even have gotten out? She was struggling with like maybe this was some of it too, right? She was struggling with Navette as her doppelganger, and Navette being the leader of the resistance and wanting to free all these people. And so Una is leaning into that, leaning into the character of Navette and Navette's motivations. So that probably like interfered with the clarity of just being a Starfleet officer, right? And because she makes the point, Una makes the point at the very beginning of this episode that she loves rules, she loves lists, and she loves lists about rules. She's
Yeah. That's true.
yeah,
That's a good point. Yeah.
yeah. It's very clear that
She's a rule follower.
she's a follower exactly, and she likes things in black and white. So it's either one way or the other
But
for yeah,
yeah.
for Una as an individual.
Which is
And
funny because she's a rule follower, yet she hid her Illyrian background
yeah,
because of her service in Starfleet. So she's kind of a rule follower, but kind of not. I would say maybe she's a rule follower, but she will push the envelope of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. Complete contradiction, right?
Well,
That
at least up until her trial, right? In
hmm
season 2, I believe it was.
yeah,
Once that's passed, and then she's still allowed to serve in Starfleet, and mostly because the stuff that was done to her genetically was a parental decision, and it was like the cultural thing to do, and it wasn't because she was trying to get some kind of advantage on her to be in Starfleet and all this. So there was you know some real reasons why she was able to stay. I did like that they tied back her and her family leaving a planet as an Illyrian to escape that past and tying it to this
yeah,
situation,
yeah,
right? And that's where I think she really felt like she had to do something because of what she went through as a kid.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I really like they tied that back in.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, uh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, and Benga's um story or his personal experience that he shares with Una at the end of the episode is great too. I think he talks about that he had an encounter with like several Klingons and that I think he says he had to kill them all, right, in that encounter. So I think that was powerful, like and a good one. And I really liked the shot, like as there's this reflection shot with Una, like as the shuttle is transitioning, it must be transitioning out of the radiation effect from the sun, and then she turns back to color in her reflection. I
Yeah.
really like that shot.
Yeah. There's a couple of Easter eggs I think we'd be remiss if we didn't
Mm.
mention. Number one, as soon as I heard it, I immediately knew it came from DS9. And that was the song, the Warriors Anthem that they sing
Oh,
in the bar. Worf sings that along with who else sings it? I don't remember who else sings it, but I know Worf in particular sings that song in Soldiers of the Empire in DS9. So that was a cool touch that they brought that song in. I mean, literally,
cool.
they're singing it, and all I can hear is Michael Dorn as Worf's voice singing that song because it's so memorable. The other one is when Scotty says something to the effect of like cross my heart, hope to get stuck in a pattern buffer, like old Scotty does in the episode of TNG called Relics, right? With the Dyson
Oh,
sphere and
yeah,
they pull
yeah.
him out of the pattern buffer.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a foreshadowing. And then of course we also
Yeah.
learn that Scotty loves mustard. He loves mustard. Don't we all? But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought there was some really cool couple of Easter eggs in there that came in I thought was fun.
I agree. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, overall, Chris, did you like the episode? And what are some final thoughts about it as a whole?
I did like it. I may have to watch it in its entirety again. I really like the black and white and technically how it's executed and uh, the style and how Mbenga and Una and Uhuru play in it. I thought they did a great job
Yeah.
on the planet. I was reminded actually a little bit about the Toss episode, City on the Edge of Forever. Just,
Oh,
that just that time period piece. I do like it when they go to these planets and it's just a very this planet is like back in time and how they interact on the planet and with everyone on the planet. So I like those kind of settings. Um, the the Klingons there as kind of this the representation of Nazi Germany, uh, makes sense. I mean, they're obviously going for the Casablanca vibe and the
hmm.
noir vibe,
Yeah.
um, and all of that like makes sense. So I do like this, and I like the style that they were playing with. I actually don't know if I like it more than the comedy episode, my friend. I
Okay,
I
that's a
actually don't
hot
know.
take.
I
All
know, isn't
right.
it? Yeah,
That's a hot take.
yeah.
All right.
Um,
Yeah.
but
No, really quickly, you mentioned City on the Edge of Forever.
hmm
Now, I don't know how they would have explained it being black and white, but the City on the Edge of Forever would have been another episode that actually would have been really good made black and
yeah,
white.
yeah, I agree.
In this kind of a style, it would have come across, I think, really well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, Other thoughts I have is Pike's appearance in this episode was pretty small.
Very.
Yeah.
I bet Anson was like, "Woohoo! I only have to shoot for like 2 days on this or something, or maybe not even 2, maybe a day. Who knows?" But yeah,
Yeah, and I think I mean that's okay.
yeah.
I really like the episodes with Dr. Mbenga. They're
But we
great.
haven't gotten a lot of Pike this season yet, right?
Correct.
He's been
Yeah.
in and out of episodes. We haven't gotten a lot of him, and I wonder because we're going to get so much of him potentially down the road as we get closer to the end of the season, and then season five, of course, is the final season and his journey towards the Blinky light chair. We're assuming.
Oh, God.
I mean, we're assuming that's going to happen, right? Unless they completely go off canon and have a different ending. But
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and just a little bit of Spock and you just a little bit of Chapel
yeah,
in this one too. Yeah, this was an enjoyable episode. Um, I'm still feeling out how I rank this amongst all of the Strange New World episodes.
maybe we'll have to rank the season once we get down to the finale of season four and talk about like where we kind of how all the episodes fit together on our favorite or not favorite list.
Yeah.
Be kind of fun.
I will, yeah, it will be fun to do that. I will say that this episode was it's actually kind of dense to be able to understand and to
Mm.
follow. Right. And I'm still kind of thinking about the plots and the subplots and going like, why was it that way? And it's not like clicking with me and it's not making sense. Um, my wife,
Maybe to
my
watch
wife
it
watched it
again
too.
and
Yeah, I'd have to
yeah.
watch it again. Yeah, my wife watched it with me the first time and she said she had no idea what was going on.
Did she like the black and white noir kind of feel to it?
I don't I don't know that she did. Like her reaction was just like, oh, I don't understand any of it. So I think
Her
that
reaction
is
was one
that
of confusion.
yeah, it was confusion. So that might be like a significant thing to think about this episode. Now, me personally, I like the idea of I like the idea of it
Yeah.
of going there and to make it um stylistic and unusual and even sometimes like uh more abstract because I do like it if it's going to be art then it can be abstract but here was like technically it was beautiful and visually great as visual art but I got lost a little bit in the plot. I mean I like the idea that um Leon was going on this kind of investigative hunt that pulled on her paranoia, but I don't know that the payoff from this investigation that she went on, I don't know that the conclusion of what she found out really made sense to me.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, she says to Captain Pike, like, "Hey, I did find like one thing out. I found out that Ortega and Scotty are apparently friends now. So that
Yeah.
was like one thing that she found out in her investigation.
Yeah.
But there was no conspiracy that she was looking for, right? Really, not too
Yeah, but
much.
the way I took that scene with her and Pike, I'll be honest with you, it almost kind of felt like Pike knew something else. Like he knew actually what was in the signal, and he was waiting to see if she'd tell him or not.
Yeah.
And she never did. And so he's like, okay, carry on, Lieutenant, or you know, whatever he says, right? It's almost like not that he was testing her, but he knew and he was waiting to see if she knew or was gonna say she knew. And I don't know. Maybe I looked too much into that, but
No, I got that same feel because he
okay.
says something to her at the end. He says, "Hey, if you think of anything else that needs to be in the report, you can just come tell me." He says
Yeah,
something like that, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like he was trying to set her up a little bit. So I don't know. It was kind of weird to me that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do I take this, right? Am I take this at face value, or do I take it that there's something else here? And I took
Mm-hmm.
it as there was more to it
Mm-hmm.
than
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. This also reminds me a little bit about the episode where I don't remember if it was last season or 2 seasons ago, where they have the early version of the holodeck and
Oh yeah,
they're in that.
that would have been with might have been season two with Pelia,
Hmm.
or maybe it was last. I don't. Yeah, season two or
Yeah.
season three.
Yeah. So remind me of that. Also reminded me of the Voyager episodes on the holodeck where it's the Herosian or the um, kind of Nazi Germany, and you've got
Yes.
the Voyager crew
Yep.
like in the bar right there, and I think Seven of Nine is maybe the bar owner, like her
Hmm.
character.
Yep.
Which reminded me of that. Um, let's see if it reminded me of anything in DS9. Did it remind you of anything in DS9?
I mean, the only thing to me would be the Cardassian
Yeah,
occupation.
yeah.
That would be it to me. And then you have like the resistance, which would have been the Bajoran resistance during that time, and the Bajoran freedom fighters like Kira. That would have been it. So
Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Um, yeah, I will say this probably was my favorite episode of the season. I'll be honest with you.
Nice. Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed this. It's not a perfect episode. They're really there's probably only like three episodes or maybe four episodes that I would consider as like pretty much perfect in the Star Trek universe. Every episode is going to have its flaws and things that are you can kind of poke at. But I thought as a whole, I thought it was entertaining. I didn't think I was going to like the black and white noir feel, but I really enjoyed it. I felt like this episode had to be that way. If they had tried to do it in color, I don't think it would have worked as well. Of
Hmm.
course, they'd have to change the name, which I'd be okay with because it'd be easier to pronounce. To be honest with you, but the episode. I mean, now I say it was my favorite episode of the season, The bar's a little low because I haven't been really all that thrilled with how
Hmm.
season four has been so far, with the fact that the lack of originality seems like every episode is being pulled from something else. It's a different idea, and they're whatever. But no, I thought the episode was good. I love the twists and the turns and the deceit and the deception and everything else going on
Hmm.
amongst the characters. I didn't like the fact that we have Klingons with forehead ridges, but yet in not the too distant future, we're going to have just no forehead ridges, and the inconsistency in the continuity. I'm telling you, the Klingons are the most confused species in Star Trek. They don't know what they want to look like. They have forehead ridges. They don't have forehead ridges. Well, they have forehead ridges, but now they look at this thing in Discovery. Well, but now they're not really. But then they have albinos. But then it's just
Yeah.
the Klingons to me are the most all over the map species in Star Trek. And I know it's a TV show, right? And there's inconsistencies between the shows and inconsistencies in canon or lack thereof canon. But it's puzzling to me how the Klingons change so much all the time. And then you see a Vulcan, it's like, okay, well, their clothes are different era of clothes, but they look the same. Romulans, they look the same. Obviously, humans look the same. What's up with the Klingons? Like they're just
Yeah.
they're confused, I guess. But
D You're right, because Discovery really
it
made things
messed it up, dude. Oh yeah,
messy. Yeah.
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 And maybe that's why they have forehead ridges in this because Discovery, right? I don't know. But this Star Trek Strange New World season 4, episode 4, A Case of Chiaroscuro, I thought was pretty well done. I really enjoyed it, and so far my favorite episode of the season.
Very nice. Very
So
nice.
I want to go back and watch it again and maybe kind of look at some of the things we've talked about.
Yeah.
I want to look at that scene again where you were confused and say, okay, maybe I was confused and I just didn't realize I was confused, or maybe I wasn't paying attention enough in that moment, and try to see like what makes sense or what doesn't. And but overall, like I said, it was entertaining. I really love some of the dialogue. I thought the end scene in the shuttlecraft was classic Trek as far as the idea of discussing right and wrong and morality and choices and things. Those are all that's all to me really good stuff. And then that last moment at the end where Una is looking and you can see her reflection in the glass on the shuttlecraft, and then it slowly starts to turn to color as they're flying away from the radiation. That was a very well done touch.
Hmm.
I really like that artistic scene there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So well done, director. Very well done, Mira. If that's how you say your name, that was fantastic. But okay, well, we're 4 episodes in. We are next week is the halfway mark already of season 4, and if those of you aren't tracking and don't know, next week's episode it is the puppet episode.
There you go.
Next week's puppet episode. It's
Yeah.
I think the name of the episode is level 5 transporter accident or something like that. Chris, I don't know, and it's got Orions, and I think according to the little teaser they put out, I think the Orions might be responsible for the transporter issues, and I'm trying to understand how the Orions can turn people into puppets and where that would. I don't know, Chris. I am super worried about next week that it's gonna be maybe not. Maybe we'll be surprised and it'll be a good episode, but I think the I believe button is going to be broken next week because I don't think I can push that button enough times to me to believe that the crew besides Spock is all puppets and he has to save them. And I am concerned, Chris. I
We
am very
shall
concerned.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. We
We
will
shall
see.
see.
We will see. And you all hopefully will see too and come join us next week as we discuss Star Trek Strange New World season 4 episode 5. But we hope you enjoyed our look at episode 4 of season 4. Be sure to go on Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Send us a message. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you like the black and white and the noir feel to it? Did you think it was some of the worst stuff you've ever seen in your life, or something somewhere in between? We want to know. Please give us a shout out and or give us a shout, not shout out. Give us a shout and let us know what you think. And we're looking forward to continuing some more with Strange New World, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I am looking forward to seeing the puppet episode. We'll see what happens.
I'm not.
Not
I'll
too
be
much.
upfront and honest with you, Chris, I am not, but I'm just hoping that it will be. I'm hoping it's like Subspace Rhapsody, where I go into it going, "Oh, this is gonna be a freaking musical episode. This is gonna be terrible," and then actually it wasn't. It was pretty good.
Hmm.
They did it well, so I'm hoping it's gonna be like that. I'm fingers crossed here, my friend. Fingers crossed.
Be much
We'll
to
see.
discuss. Yeah.
There will be much to discuss, I'm sure. But anyways, thank you everybody as always so much. Take care, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Random Redshirt podcast.